If you're tuning into this video, this is actually part 2 of a 2-part series. This is the exterior portion, so I highly recommend you check out the part 1, which is the interior portion. And I'll give kind of like a little intro in that video. So yeah, but if you're interested in exterior truck mods and EDC stuff, keep watching, and we'll get into the exterior stuff here. All right, so I'll start at the front here of the truck and just work our way back. So I have a TRD off-road, so I had to upgrade the grill to a Pro grill. You'll see I did the Raptor lights across the front, upgraded this little emblem here. As far as the headlights are concerned, I went with, instead of replacing the more expensive route, the entire unit, I just upgraded the bulbs. So I did high and low beam LEDs on that, and then I did LED fog lights as well, and they're actually amber. So I'll turn the lights on here towards the end, but it's cool, the amber matches the amber on the Raptor lights, so that's pretty sweet. As far as the LEDs, they definitely work super well, super bright, and way more affordable than doing the entire housing. So definitely recommend that. You'll see here I did Raptor Liner on this front bumper here. So I would like to eventually, you know, get like a C4 bumper and like do all that stuff, but that's just crazy expensive. And this is also my daily driver, so trying to you know, save on gas mileage as well. But I thought this was a nice little touch doing the Raptor Liner because it matches my Diamondback bed cover. So I did that Raptor Liner, and then I also did the fender flares. So definitely not for the faint of heart. It's pretty difficult to like get this stuff off, and then you got to do all the prep work, sand them down, paint them, get them back on. There's like a special adhesive tape that you got to do, but it turned out great. I'll drop a couple pictures of kind of the process, but I like how it matches and everything's cohesive. You'll see I also did a Viper cut, so there's like a automotive trim along this. This turned out pretty good. It's kind of sketch because you're cutting into the body of your truck, but I had to do the Viper cut because I upgraded to 285/70 R17. So prior to these wheels, which these are Nitto Ridge grapplers, prior to that I was running Nitto Ridge grapplers 265s on the stock tire, or the stock wheel. And then once those wore down, and then I went with the lift and everything, I figured I would just upgrade to the 17-inch wheels as well. These are DX4 17s, and yeah, it turned out really solid. I love how it looks. It's much more aggressive, and these have a -18 offset, so you can kind of see how these poke out just a little bit, but definitely like how it turned out. As far as the suspension is concerned, I went with the Bilstein 5160s. So I maxed out the setting on these, and this gives you a 2.5-inch lift, I believe, in the front. It's definitely settled down over the past few months, so it was a little bit taller when I first installed it, but it settled in nicely. And then one little subtle detail here is on the sway bar. I did this upgraded like bushing or whatever. It was just like a thing I saw on Amazon, so I was like, yeah, while I'm doing this, I'll just replace those too. So that is that. And while we're in the front, I'll just go ahead and pop the hood here so you can see what's going on under the hood. So get this lifted open. You'll notice that popped right open. So first thing I'll mention is I went with the Spiker Engineering hood strut. So it's the gas strut, just a single one. So now I no longer have to use the hood prop there. And I like how it's just the one instead of having a two, so it makes it really easy to get under the hood. I also did a little light under here that you can see I wired in there, so it just lights up the engine bay. I do pretty much all my own maintenance, so it's just nice to have that light instead of having to have a flashlight, and I work at night most of the time, so it's pretty nice. You'll notice I have a Optima yellow top battery, so just wanted something that with the lights and stuff that I have running that would be able to, you know, draw power while the engine is off. You'll see here, this is a upgraded bracket to accommodate my circuit breaker and fuse block. So this is a Blue Sea Systems fuse block. It's the 12-port version. This bracket is meant to accommodate specifically, well, I don't know if it's specifically, but pretty sure it's meant for this particular circuit breaker, and then you could do whatever size fuse block you wanted. And this bolts right into the truck, and it's like perfectly fits this little area. So the fuse block allows you to wire in, so my ham radio, which you can see that in part 1 of this series, the engine bay light, which I just showed you, my ditch lights, and then my rock lights. So those are all on their own individual fuses. This thing pops off. I have 8 more ports that I could put whatever I wanted. There's some other accessories that I'm thinking about doing, so that'll definitely come in handy. And these all have their own individual fuse, so if this blew, then I just have to replace that one. And then the accessory just plugs in and you screw it down and you're good to go. As far as the circuit breaker is concerned, so if for whatever reason something crazy happened and it was drawing more than 50 amps, this would trip and it would shut power off to everything. And then also that's nice to have that ability when I'm adding an accessory or maintenancing or whatever, I can just shut power off, do what I need to do, and then kick it back on. So pretty nice little setup, and it's definitely more affordable than going like the Switch Pros or Oxbeam has something. You know, maybe one day, but this is working out for me as it stands, and then you only need one just wire running to the battery instead of having all that stuff. As far as anything else under the hood, I did a K&N air filter in here, which now I'm starting to consider replacing that with just the OEM version, because Project Farm apparently shows that this allows far more dust into the engine, so something to note there. I'd like to get onboard air at some point, but you know, one thing at a time. So that's pretty much it under the hood. Looking up here, so these are my ditch lights, and then I also have these side lights up on the roof rack. So these lights operate on the same switch. So I have this little switch here, and so that kicks on those guys, and then also the ditch lights. I just did it on one switch to make it easier. I obviously could have wired them up, you know, individually, but I figured if I was gonna have, you know, the ditch lights on, I don't really know why I wouldn't want those ones on. So that's it for lighting. This is the antenna right here for my ham radio, so I got a couple different antennas for that. As far as the roof rack is concerned, I went with the Prinsu. Couple mods that I've done on the Prinsu. There's another video I have talking about trying to reduce the wind noise, so you can check that out if you like. And then looking up here, so got a couple mounting points that I've done on the roof rack. So got one here, there's a couple more back there. And then another cool thing about these side lights is so these normally are just hardwired in. So like the ditch lights, those are just hardwired, but I run an awning a lot of times. So my rooftop tent and my awning open out towards this direction. And in order to get my awning on there, that light is kind of blocking where that goes. So what I had to do was come up with a way to more easily take this light on and off. So like I was saying, it was normally hardwired in, and I would just have to flop this light over, like you know, unscrew this, flop it over, and it'd just be hanging there. But I found this kit that allows you to actually create a plug. So now I can just quickly unplug this and then take the light off, and then when I want to put it back on, I just mount it back and then plug it in. So, and that is actually pretty sweet for other electrical accessories, that if you have that issue, you know, maybe with some other stuff, that is a good solution. And I'll put that in the link so you can check out that little kit. I did a little ABS, you know, window trim thing. So that's one thing to point out there. Talking about the rear suspension. So with the rear, I went with the Bilstein 6112s. So have an extended reservoir. And then I also did the Icon, I think it's RXT leaf springs. I'll have to look it up, but it's like a modular leaf spring system that allows you to dial in how much weight you're trying to carry. So there's like stage 1, 2, 3. I went with the 3 because of the amount of weight that I normally carry. But yeah, definitely a nice little setup there. The suspension, I installed it all myself with just the like bottle cap jack that comes with your truck. So if you're considering installing a lift yourself, I don't have a sick garage or anything, or like a lift or any cool stuff, and I managed to do it. It definitely was pretty laborsome, but I managed to get it done. So if you're considering doing it, just go for it, and it's pretty fun to learn how to do it. Now, getting into probably the most exciting part of the video is the Diamondback bed cover, and then what I keep in the bed of my truck. So I went with the smooth version of the Diamondback bed cover and the HD, just because I carry a decent amount of weight with my rooftop tent, which you can see up there. And that's what these rails are here, is the front runner rack system to support that. I have a tent video, you can check that out. It goes into a little more detail about that. So that's pretty much it about the bed cover. Now looking here, I guess I can start with the toolbox. I went with the Milwaukee pack out system. This is their 3-drawer setup, and just where I keep my tools. Like I was saying earlier, or in my previous video, I'm kind of the family handyman, so just some random stuff that I keep in here. I won't go into everything in super detail because we'll be here all day, but just some tools that I keep. You can kind of take a still shot if you want to see what's going on and all of that. But yeah, I keep this strapped down with this little bungee here, wrapped around the side. Got some safety glasses there, an extra holster. And then I went with this bed mat, and that keeps stuff from really just in general from sliding around, but that really helps keep the toolbox in position as well. So I'll pop this open, and you can see the underside of this. So I fed through some shock cord, as you can see, obviously all along this, just for some additional storage. So I keep just like random stuff, like some winter gloves, some extra hats, some work gloves, some nitrile gloves. This is like some rope for my awning to keep that staked down. And then this is a first aid kit, actually. So I'll get this yanked out. Sorry, I'm doing this kind of one-handed, but this first aid kit is pretty sweet. This is a something I learned from Nut and Fancy. So you should look up his channel. He's like the gear, guns, EDC dude. But that's kind of where I got the idea for this. This is a Blackhawk rollout first aid kit. And like I said, one-handed, but this just rolls out, and this is just like a emergency first aid kit. Just have an assortment of like medication, gauzes, different bandages, some finger splints, and EpiPen. You know, just some stuff for emergency purposes. So it's always nice to have a first aid kit on you. I'm by no means a medical professional, but try to be as capable as possible. Looking over at this side, I did some bed stiffeners. That just strengthens the bed a little bit. It's cool because it gives you some additional tie down points here. So that's on both sides. As far as another little mount here, I installed this and just have some S-beaners on there. And then this bungee is just holding my Costco quick crates or whatever you want to call those. So that's just nice for, you know, if you're hauling groceries or whatever else. You'll see here that there's this rail system. So I have a mounting point there. There's one back there. And then that goes around to the other side. And then on top of this Milwaukee pack out, I just keep another little grocery tote. And then these are seat covers for the inside, because I have a super sheddy dog. So this is like the whole back seat. And then this is the front seat if he's going to ride shotgun with me. So that's it as far as that is concerned. And then I will pop up this guy here. So cool thing about this is there's like a little safety latch that prevents you from having this fly open, but you just lift that and then this end pops up. This side is essentially my like emergency side, or safety if you want to call it. So these are emergency road flares, so LED road flares. These are cool if you're like on the side of the road changing a tire or whatever. I actually had a buddy who passed away by getting hit by a car on the side of the road, so super huge advocate of safety. This is a battery jump starter. So battery jump starter, I highly recommend anybody have this in their car. It's super convenient because you don't need another vehicle to jump start your battery, and you're able to help yourself, you're able to help other people, and you don't have to position cars engine to engine. You just throw this on and jump start it right away. And then I have my Rotopax here, which is just some extra gas. Down here, there's nothing behind the toolbox, so keep that pretty vacant. I do keep a Fisker's axe right here on these little monkey fists, so that's one thing that's tucked back there. And that's pretty much it for what's going on inside of the bed cover. Oh, actually there is sorry, one more thing is there is some frisbees over there just for fun. And then these were like little cargo nets that I did instead of the shock cord like I did on this panel here. One thing to mention about these panels is super easy to remove. So obviously, if you're trying to haul stuff that's way bigger or like taller than the actual side of the bed, you'll have to remove these. That's done by lifting up this little latch right here, pulling off the struts, and then you just lift this panel 90 degrees, and then the panel just slides off. So you can take both panels off, and then you have full access to your bed for hauling whatever. Another little mod that I did here, this is just a tailgate cover to make it smooth instead of like the ribbed version. I will say, I'll put a link to this brand, but this brand, you may want to go with something different, because if you leave this tailgate down in direct sunlight, you'll actually end up, this like bows up. So it like, I don't know, the heat or whatever kind of warps it. It goes back to normal, but just a word of caution there if you're thinking about going with this hook whatever brand. As far as another thing on the tailgate is I did a power lock for the tailgate. So that's when you hit your remote. So you can hear that it allows the tailgate to be power locking and unlocking. So that pretty much does it as far as exterior mods are concerned. I guess I can show you some lighting here real quick before I wrap up the video. So this is what the lights look like as far as when everything's running. Just those amber fogs matching the Raptor lights. So I'll go ahead and shut this engine off now. And I talked about this on the interior video, but you can see these lights a little bit better now that it's almost dark, but got the footwell lighting in there. We can see if these will, be any sort of brightness at all, but you can kind of see my shadow here, but those are those ditch lights, and then the side lights, and then the last lights here which I forgot to mention when I was in the tailgate, is I installed a little switch right here for truck bed lights. So just ran those all the way around. So that's off, it's on, gives it some pretty good solid illumination. And then that switch is also tied to my rock lights. So I ran those underneath. So obviously one right there, there's one in front of this tire, this one back here, and then there's one underneath here that you can kind of see. Pretty sweet for camping, as far as it allows you to see the ground as you're walking around when you're camping. But yeah, other than that, that about does it. So if you have any questions or feedback or anything about what I should do different, or any other mods you've noticed, love to hear it in the comments. But otherwise, we'll see you guys on the next one.